Okay, the Parks and Environmental Committee will come to order. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Sure. Alderman Vaccaro,
Present.
Alderwoman Ingracia,
Present.
Alderwoman Tyus,
Present.
Alderman Gunther,
Here.
Alderwoman Martin, Alderwoman Navarro,
Present.
Alderman Williamson,
Here.
Alderman Martin. You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Today we have 3 resolutions on the agenda and 1 board bill. So we'll be taking up all 3 resolutions first. We do have the Park Commissioner here, Mrs. Kim Higley, and she's gonna give us a presentation of all resolutions, 146, 47, 48. Good morning, Commissioner, how you doing?
Good morning, thank you. The resolutions that you have in front of you are a result of meeting with each of the aldermen in the ward capital meetings. I do have a couple of aldermen that I had not had a chance to meet with. You'll see on these resolutions, are some unspecified projects, and that money is for those projects so that I can get with the aldermen that I did not meet with and get those into this also. So basically everything that you see on these lists, like I said, are a result of asks and priorities of the individual aldermen in each of the wards.
Okay, and I did have several questions about it from other alderpersons and even myself. And with 147, I noticed that the Ivan Prairie part in the 26th ward, which is the total cost would be the $50,000, and that would be to replace the playground rubber surfing. And I think that's already been done, I believe. Now, last year, and I spoke to you over the phone about this, there is $100,000 in that particular account for Ivan Prairie.
From last year, yeah.
From last year, because we like to run the fiber optics.
Right.
You know, so is there any way we can get that in writing, Commissioner? Not that I don't trust you guys, but just to have it where, we know we have that money locked in.
The 100,000, that's with Board of Public Service. So when you look at your accounts through them, they already have that set aside for it. So it is documented.
Okay.
Not here, but on my 2017 list, that
Right.
when you guys did that, it's documented there, but it's also documented with DPS that it still is there.
Okay, and they do have record of it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay, well, I'm going to worry, we got you on tape too, so, I appreciate that. Okay, so I guess we'll go around the horn, and we can have any questions.
Which bill are we taking up?
We're doing 146 first.
Okay.
And I guess, let me ask you this, and maybe the attorney. So what you're saying, pretty much 46, 47, 48 are all looped in pretty much together, right?
Yes, sir.
So I guess we'll go through, we're gonna pass them separately,
Yeah.
but we're gonna go ahead and, ask questions. I'm sure the other aldermen have questions of their parts on here too. So we'll go ahead and start. Alderman Vaccaro.
So, sort of more question, and Kim, correct me, it's not even a question, because I've been on parks since the beginning. The reason we do this is a resolution for this does not go out to the full board. So once this is passed, this money goes to your park now. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've done this, like I said, for 9 years now. Even though, like mine may say cameras, the money goes to your park, that amount, whether it's the 100% or the matching. They send the paperwork out, and then I did something out of both funds because we were interested in doing cameras. But that money, once it's in your park fund, it's in your park fund. So
Yeah,
if you,
that's understood.
if
Yeah.
you change projects, it's okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, but
Right.
that the money's set up, we all send in that paper, we all got it, and we all send that paper in, unless you weren't here at the time, which you probably were not here at the time, but So we send in that paper saying what projects we want to do. And in the case where you're talking about the project that's already done, it's okay because that money's going to be in your
I
part.
just wanted to make sure that the funding was still there, even if we use it for a month ago, it doesn't matter, I understand that point.
It
But I
can't
just
go
wanted to
nowhere.
make sure that the allocation, the money was there. And it's pretty much for the reason of, we have some new aldermen here,
Right, that's
and
why-
they don't
that's why-
know, and they need to be educated on how this works.
And that's why I was
Right. I
explaining
appreciate
the
it.
process.
That's all.
So it's just a resolution, and once it passes, the money goes into each park. But if you need to switch projects, we certainly could switch them. And that was really more of just a statement. It doesn't go to the full board for a vote. It just comes out.
Okay, thank you for the information. Okay, Alderwoman Ingracia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think you and I have been having conversations about the comfort station
Yes.
updates in Fox Park. I was told by Stephanie Doss on May 17th I wasn't able to make my capital improvements meeting because of a family emergency, and I was told that the budget exhibits were already finalized, submitted, and approved, and I wasn't able to do the match. But as we're sitting here today, I mean, it's October, so I'm a little bit confused about why I wouldn't be able to do that if you're able to do that for other aldermen.
I have that, I knew there's several that I didn't meet with for whatever reason. And that's why, like I said, you see that unspecified project. We like to get as much as we can done up front because like if we have drinking fountains, for example, if we have 25 drinking fountains among the 28 wards, we bid that out as a package. And so that one gets us a better price and also managing the project.
Yep.
Also, there.
No, I get that.
I don't know why she would tell you that because,
Yeah, I mean, you're on here, so I guess maybe my next step is Rich Bradley, because I've been trying to figure out what's going on since May 17th, and it's October.
well, I know I'm on the record here, so I'm just gonna say to you, it was always my intent to get with you and the other aldermen. You've reached out to me and to make that happen.
Okay.
That's more of a specialized project. It doesn't fall into this other stuff. And even if I needed to add 10 drinking fountains at a later date, that can still be done. This money is there and it's to be used in the parks. And I can justify that you weren't on this list. You're entitled to part of that money. So why couldn't we do that?
Okay.
Now, working out the ins and outs of that and getting that through Stephanie, BPS, things like that, that's something that we can certainly do.
Okay.
And unless there's something that I'm not aware of, I don't know why we couldn't do that.
Okay, all right, well, I'll follow up with BPS, thanks. And then I noticed in the neighborhood park fund that there are improvements being made to Aloe Plaza and Compton Hill Reservoir Park, which is, I mean, these are smart improvements. I didn't request them, so I was curious how they, like, what the reasoning was for these specific improvements.
Some of this will come from complaints that we get through CSB. If we have a drinking fountain that's at the end of its lifespan, or it's one of the older metal ones that are kind of more ornate. There's two things there. We're looking at lead, so we run all those drinking fountains to test for lead and stuff. And most of those are just drinking fountains that we want to get away from. And like I said, the maintenance calls from CSB will trigger those.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, and let me say this, I mean, if we don't feel comfortable as a board, as a body, to pass them out, we don't have to right now. And if you rather, talk to the commission and BPS to make sure that your allocation is gonna be set for your parks in your particular, well, we don't have to rush this out. We can always do it next week. So it's good that we're meeting today, so you can open up the discussion and kind of figure out where you're at and kind of go from there, so you can check with BPS too. Okay, Alderwoman Tass.
Following up what she said, I know why, because Stephanie tries to yes people into doing what she says, and there are not rules and there are not laws. We should hold this up and make sure that you get what you need, because from May to October, we're just doing this. There was no need for her to tell you that. That's what she told me too. So it's absolutely not true. And what I really would like is for Stephanie to come down here, because she should not be put on the hot seat about what's going on.
We do that. Okay.
I,
Just take that. Take that. You didn't do it.
we have this, we have these lines that are unspecified funds. So we can do those things. Whether BPS,
That's not
Once-
what they're telling us, though.
okay, but
No. I didn't talk when you talk. It's not your turn. Thank you very much. So
I know
right.
what she's telling you.
I
but-
know, and so to go on with that. So I'm looking at these big unspecified projects
Mhm.
that doesn't make any sense, because she's not just told her or me, other people. So that's not true. So that's how people who are bureaucrats take power from people who are elected officials. Okay, we don't do what they say. We make the laws, and they do what we say. Okay, so like they're building a bathroom in Penrose Park, which my constituents do not want there, and I'm gonna tear right back out. And I have told Stephanie and them not to do that, and they said they weren't, but there it is being built. And then where are they getting this money from?
That came out of the bond money.
And then I'm gonna tear it back out, because nobody wants a bathroom in front of their house. So why is it that they think they know better? That's why I want Stephanie to come down here.
I don't know. That bond project was done in 2013, 2014.
I was right here.
Okay, so you
And I
you have
already
more
told her,
history
and
than
I
do.
was here before that, because I represented Penrose Park for 12 years before
Right.
that, so,
So
exactly.
I'm being honest, I don't know how those projects got on that bond list.
Well,
But,
And it's not fair to you, Kim. I mean, with
but they
BPS,
are, yeah.
it should really be there. Part of that's probably my fault. I shouldn't have
and my thing is, you say you guys can go and do them, so when she tells us, oh, this has to be in here, and we have to vote on it, and then when you see, like, I'm looking at, the three, which one is this, resolution 146, and, they have unspecified, more money is left for unspecified projects than specified projects. So that's not making sense, and I would like the bureaucrats to tell me the truth when I'm dealing with them, you know? So if you can go ahead and do this, then there was no reason to turn her down for a family emergency or whatever I had to say, but I think I even got my email saying it had to be done by this time, or it couldn't be done.
Right.
And that, then you're coming in here and you're not trying to call her a liar. I am, okay? I'm doing it. So I think we ought to have people coming in here who made those assertions to straighten it out. And the same thing when I look here, we got, what is this, 147, unspecified projects is more than half of, the total. I think mostly, the only one that we actually have where 148 is actually spent most of the funds up. And I don't mind if it's a few little extra dollars here and there, but when you have this much unspecified, and then you told the alderman it's gotta be done, then you come in here and tell us something different. That don't make sense to me. Don't pass the smell test.
I understand what you're saying.
And
but-
you didn't do it.
Right, and what I'm telling you is that I can't speak for Stephanie. I just know that when you're dealing with 28 aldermen and all those bond projects, or all these projects, and then trying to get them out and get them designed in some cases and things like that, that I can only assume that that's why she wants it all up front. What I'm saying is, I know from past experience, even though I've only been in this position
I know you do.
10 months, that there are things that come up that come out of these unspecified funds.
I've never seen any this big before.
Right, and
Okay? And I've been doing it longer than him. I'm the
Right.
most senior person on this board.
Right.
I've never seen it done in such a large amount.
I understand that, but this is the first time, and I've not been doing ward capital meetings that long. I've only been doing them about 5 years. This is the first year that I've had the number of aldermen not come. So yourself and Alderman Ingrassia are not the only two. I probably have 3 or 4 other ones. And so I didn't feel right spending, I could have assigned that money and I could have spent it all. Personally, I didn't think it was fair because you,
Right.
both of you and other aldermen that weren't able to make it, had projects on their list for their parks.
So then if we're gonna, then you're gonna be able to do it differently or spend this money, but Stephanie has already told us that it has to be approved by BPS and okayed by them. How is that gonna happen? So so how does that work then?
What I would do,
Really, let me just say, I feel very uncomfortable putting her on the spot, because that's just not fair. I would really request that Ms. Dawes come down here and ask these questions herself, okay? I don't have any more questions, because Kim is doing her job.
I don't know if it's possible we can get her down here now, I don't know, but, we probably have to call another question, you know, then we kind of go from there. Yeah,
so
I think so.
let me just say, the way I would, my intent and the way, and then I know these funds have been used in years past, these unspecified funds, was that I would meet with all the aldermen that I didn't get to meet with, find out what their projects are
Right.
within these unspecified dollars, and then put those projects through. I mean, when you look at
But weren't you, at that, you were 50-50 sidewalk then,
I was
right?
50-50.
So you weren't doing the big thing then? Was Dan Skillman doing this then?
Yeah.
Right, so
yeah.
that's
This
what I'm
was my
saying.
first
Right.
award capital meeting as Parks.
And what I could do, to be fair to the rest of all the men and all the women, maybe we can, and I can send out a letter, so they can meet with you to see if they want to talk to you about any allocations in their parks, in their particular wards, and also contact Stephanie Johnson so she can come down at the next meeting too.
Can I?
I'm gonna go down the road, hold it,
Okay.
we'll come back.
And then I have a follow-up.
Okay, I will. I'm gonna go ahead and get Alderman Gunther so he can ask some questions. Go ahead.
Get yours
Alderman, yes, sir.
Thank you for being here, Commissioner Higley. Okay, so just a few kind of basic questions. One, on this, the resolution 146 here, under Ward 17, Shoto Park, 0 match, why does that have 0 and all the rest have 25%?
You're lucky.
Which one, 146?
This is 146.
Zero management, they pay 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that just means that the
The,
ward is
the,
paying
wa- the
100%?
ward, the ward
Okay.
put in that money.
All right. Okay, so, and then, I know we're talking a lot about this unspecified project fund, so, I did come to the BPS and we sat down and talked, and, one of the things I requested was, trash cans and drinking fountains for, Mount Pleasant Park, and then I didn't see that on any of these, spreadsheets here, and so I went and talked with my BPS representative about it. I guess he talked to Stephanie and they went back to you, and I was told that there was some other money that was being used for that project. So I just wanna also, I guess, get it on record as to like.
Where is that
as to
money?
where was that? Yeah, cause that was one of the projects that I.
Right. So for Mount Pleasant Park, in that bond money, there are benches and decorative trash receptacles
Yeah.
in Mount Pleasant Park that were to be done. So that's why you don't see it on here, because it's part of this bond money.
Okay,
And it'll come out of that, not, because if we don't use that money, we lose that money. So that's why you don't see it on this sheet.
alright, so,
So but
wonderful, so it's on
already
record as
it's
saying
already-
it is
It's already on here.
on this, awesome, wonderful.
They should give you something in writing saying that. Okay, so they should be giving you a package.
Yeah, I mean, it was written out on my BPS stuff that I have, so, but yeah, just nothing on here. Okay, and then I guess kind of just my final question was, we've had conversations recently about Lions Park. So Lions Park has like a jogging track around it, and there were some of the, like the old concrete trash cans that were broken that got removed. The conversations that we had had were about just putting some temporary trash barrels there, the metal trash barrels, just because a lot of people like run their dogs and run their animals around there, and there's nowhere for the waste. So on this unspecified project money, would that mean that like I would be able to go to BPS and say like, hey, can we try to add 6 decorative trash cans, or is this unspecified money kind of already?
I would say, after I meet with the alderman that I didn't get to meet with,
Let's see
if
what's
there's
available.
additional money,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, because,
But-
yeah, just since there were the concrete ones there, they just got removed because they were broken. And the metal ones, the temporary ones will work for now. But yeah. just-
Yeah, they did put some in there, and I think it was Carnegie, was
And
that the
Carnegie
other
also,
one?
yep, Carnegie
That was the
Lions.
other one also, and they, out of Carnegie, they were stolen, the cans were like within
Getting
2
cold,
days.
we need heat barrels.
Yeah, or that they sell them for scrap,
Oh,
yeah, that's what they did, so, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's no further questions.
Okay, all right, Alderman, thank you. Alderwoman Navarro.
Thank you. I have a general question, since this is my first time here. I guess this is for anybody to answer. So resolutions 146 and 147 are both coming from the same, looks like 1219, the fund number, but 147 is coming from the Neighborhood Park Capital Improvement Account, and the other one's coming from the Neighborhood Park Fund Account. They go to fund similar types of projects. I'm just curious why one's being pulled from one fund and one from the other. What the
One's
distinction is.
1/10 sales tax, and one is
Oh,
a
the
3/16
okay.
sales tax.
And how do those, I guess I could go back and look at the ordinance, but what is the distinction between what those each get allocated to or what they can be spent on?
My understanding that it has to be physical improvements to the inside of the park.
So they both can fund the same thing?
That's my understanding,
Okay.
yes.
So in terms of how you decide how do you decide which one to pull it out of?
If you look, they kind of go in numerical order. We just start with one fund, so if you look at the 3/16, it starts with 7, 9, 11, and we keep going down until we, and then skip to the next one. There's no method,
Okay, and
because
then go to the other
it's the same
Okay.
money, basically.
I think that's all my other questions I think have been answered, so.
Okay, thank you, Alderwoman.
So, yeah, I want to follow up on a couple things.
Go ahead.
One, you can apply in both, and if you look, I did. So I apply in one with a match, and the other one, I try to get 100%, so you can apply in both. The other thing, I can tell you that these are resolutions. We can hold this up, it holds up the projects that are already in here, or we could simply change the resolution to simply say that all the unspecified funds have to be put together and brought back in front of the Parks Committee for approval, which would solve all of that, because you can bring everybody down here, it's still not gonna be moved out of there unless we do a amendment to the resolution saying that all the unspecified funds.
That has to be done in writing.
Well, no, you do, that's what the resolutions do, you could say that they come.
I don't know, we're gonna have to refer to the attorney, our attorney here, but, I understand what you're saying. Okay, is that all you had?
Yeah, I just think the easier, better way is to just say that all the unspecified funds in the resolution come back as soon as they figure out what
Right,
they're going to.
yeah, and, you know, that's fine, and some, all the people may not feel comfortable with that.
Right.
Now, I don't wanna hold this up, I wanna have a meeting right away so we can get it passed out, but I think we need to have Stephanie Doss come down from BPS so we can be sure. We don't wanna put, you know, the commissioner on the spot, Kim, but just have Stephanie explain the breakdown and give her the opportunity to let us know where the money is and to make everybody feel at ease that their allocation will be met in their particular
Well,
parks that they have.
And I understand it, she doesn't have to say, we have to say.
but she's BPS, and the funding source goes through them. You know, and that's what Ms. Hidden she just spoke of that, so it'd be better to have the detail of the project and the funding from Board of Public Service, I think, you know. Aldermanic.
I was gonna ask, could you meet with the other aldermen? If they could meet in the next few days, could you have time to meet with them? So that if we set a meeting for next week, would that be possible?
I can check my calendar and.
Because when I hear that the
send-
alderwoman from the sixth been trying to meet with since May, that just doesn't make any sense. That's something else going on, okay? And I'm not comfortable, I want her to get her stuff resolved. I'm good, but she should, since May, it makes no sense from May to October for this not to be resolved.
You saying with BPS, you have
Right,
to BPS?
exactly.
That's her call, your call.
Let's,
Well, I'm asking for it to be held in
Yeah,
her.
well, we're gonna help, we're gonna hold
Okay.
the resolutions up,
Can
but
you
I'm
meet
just
with
saying,
them?
as far as meeting,
I shouldn't have to meet with them. I mean, I have
Okay.
an email chain going, I have a million emails from May to October.
That's right.
They know what I need.
So tell them we
I-
need for the alderwoman to get her stuff.
well, we'd like to have, you know, Stephanie Dawes come down anyway, kind of explain those. I think that's important, so. And we won't wait too long, we're gonna probably do it, hopefully. I like to have a meeting, if we can discuss it, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday next week, if possible, so we can pass these resolutions out. You know, but we'll have her come down so she can explain exactly where the funding's going, you know, if we have any questions about, you know, any park projects, kind of like what Alderman Carl said. We don't want to hold it up too long, but at the same time, we really need to know the detail,
Yeah,
you know.
We'll get you stuff first.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Okay, all righty, so, any more questions?
Everything for you.
They can't treat my roommate like this.
Yeah, we're holding all three, 146, 147, 148. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Commissioner, we appreciate it. We have one more board bill to take up.
You did good. You did good not saying stuff you don't need to say.
We'll talk later about those trash bags.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't need me to stay?
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Would
we
you
don't
mind
need
if I did?
No, you can stay.
This won't take long.
No, I just,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
interested in
we're
the
not
process.
kicking
so.
you out, but no beats.
Hello there. Oh, boy, this is high. You're a tall person.
What's that? See, my bad.
We have Board Bill 115, Mr. Alderman Frank Williamson, our chair, is sponsoring this board bill.
Yes, thank you, Madam Vice Chair. This is a board bill that's kind of sentimental for me. This is a changing of a parking park, and changing it to my father's name, Frank H. Williamson Sr., and which he was back in the late 50s and during the 60s. You know, he was a civil rights, you know, person. He worked very, very hard along with Bill Clay Sr. and others in our community and throughout the city of St. Louis when the civil rights movement was really rolling at that time and it was at its peak. He was a big part of, you know, organizing a lot of the captains, you know, precinct captains throughout the city of St. Louis, putting them together and involved in quite a bit of demonstration when it just came to the betterment of African Americans in North St. Louis to seek, you know, fair employment. Matter of fact, as a young kid, I was protesting down at Jefferson Bank back in 1963, so I'm kind of showing my age, but I guess I was maybe probably 89 years old at that time, you know. So, and not only that, through the years, you know, he helped organize people in our community through, when it came to the, matter of fact, one of the founders of the Little Rock Baseball League back in the 60s and working with a lot of civil rights leaders and just people in the community in general. Then, of course, he worked as a circuit clerk at the Juvenile Center, and he was committee man for a while, and also he was a state rep. So, so many things that he did do, and he makes me feel like a proud son, and I'm very proud of my father, what he's done, you know, to take care of us. It was 4 of us, you know, I had 2 sisters and a brother. He provided for us and my mother. I was very blessed to have a dad like this, you know, and was raised with a mother and father, because you know today we don't have that often, so I was very, very blessed to have that. So somebody I'm proud of and proud to do this, it would be an honor. You know, of course, just like any son or father, we didn't always see eye to eye. We had our issues too, but in the long run, he was a great dad, so I'll be honored if we can rename this park and park to Frank Williamson Senior Park. So, got any questions?
Excuse me, first, will you add my name to this?
Okay, I sure will.
Okay.
And that's what I was gonna say, go ahead and put my name on
Okay,
it.
thank you, appreciate
Okay.
it.
Alderman Vaccaro, have any questions?
Just a little, add my name to the board bill.
Alderman Andrade,
I don't have any questions, but I'd like my name added as well.
Thank you, Alderwoman.
Alderman Gunther.
I guess I would like to have my name put on there as well. And then my only question is, so I noticed that on the description, it says one of the boundaries is Parkland Place. So is that where this originally got its name from, which is the name of the street?
Yes, sir, it's one of the streets that, you know, is in boundary of the park. It's like Parkland Place. That's a street that's right next to the Parkland Park, along with Maple and Hamilton. So, yeah.
I would much rather have a park named after a civil rights leader and activist versus a street, so I
Thank you, I
support this.
appreciate it. Really good.
I have no questions, but I would also love to be able to put my name on this as well.
Thank you very much, Alderwoman.
I just want to add, I knew Frank's dad, and his uncle lived in my ward. Wonderful people. Frank never could live up to them, but he tried so hard.
Can't do it. You know, old World
Alderman from the
War II
26
veterans,
had
and yeah.
really, not only his dad, but his uncle, really great people as role models. I'm proud to put my name on it.
Thank you.
So I would like to make a motion, we pass board bill number 115, I would do pass recommendation.
Second.
Second.
You don't have a previous roll call.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderwoman Ingracia.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderman Gunther.
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Navarro.
Aye.
Chairman Williamson.
Aye.
6 aye votes to pass.
Are you
Thank you,
voting?
I appreciate it.
Passed board bill 115 out with two pass recommendations.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members. I appreciate your support.
Change seats.
Are we adjourned?
Sign?
Yeah, we're gonna change
That's
that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Are we adjourned?
Now,
or-
Mr. Chairman, you gotta
We
take the
adjourned?
cheat seat.
I'm sorry.
Somebody else.
Okay, so I guess we'll circle back and have another meeting. If you guys have any suggestions when you'd like to have it sometime next week, I'll go ahead and contact Stephanie Doss to give her an idea of what we're doing so she can be prepared, and we'll invite her along with, you know, Kim Hickman, Commissioner, to come back so we can discuss the funding of the parks and go ahead and pass these resolutions out. So anybody have any suggestions or questions? I'm open.
I will reach out to all the aldermen
Okay,
that aren't here, that
right,
I
Good.
didn't get a chance to meet with at Ward Capital meeting.
okay.
To see what
Appreciate
they're-
that. Okay, all right, well, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.